Hey YouTube, how's it going? My name's Mary. Welcome to Growing Gringa. I am a Canadian citizen. I've moved to Costa Rica exactly 1 year and 2 months ago. So, as you know, we have been property hunting for a few long months and a lot has gone on. Did not actually end up renting a house temporarily. We pulled out at the last minute and I'm so glad that we did. We actually got half of our money back for 1 month rent, and it was a good thing. So we ended up staying at a friend's place for a few months and going around visiting a lot more properties. I think in total we visited probably about close to 35 properties in about 3.5 months. So that's quite a bit. If you notice, I've got a tag along today. This is Puppy. He is a Tico. He's probably about a little bit under a year old, and he came to us repeatedly a few times, and I fed him. And it's a long story, but yep, he's still with us. He's part of the family now, but he has a lot to learn, and I have a lot to learn dealing with male dogs. So today we're visiting one final property, and this is the one. Yeah, I think it is the perfect property for us. And I remember in one of my previous videos, I remember saying I was hoping to find a better property than what we were having to leave behind, and I really do think we did. It is not at all the same. It is not what most North Americans would describe as a gringo paradise, but I think it's perfect for us. So here I am at the top of the driveway, and if you can see behind me, we are above a very large river, actually quite large, and just above that, beyond, we have a beautiful volcano which is oftentimes covered in cloud. We get the best views in the morning and sometimes at the very end of the day. So it is very beautiful and very, very quiet. So this property here is 4 hectares, and I'm not going to say how much it cost, but I will say that in comparison to a lot of the other properties that we looked at, what this has to offer is a much greater value than some of the other properties we saw, and a lot of them were more expensive and they didn't have barely anything to offer at all. So here we are at the top of the driveway, and I can just say that when my mom and I arrived here and we parked here and we got out, I was like, oh wow, that was it. I knew it, and I didn't know it, I felt really, really good about it, and my mom did too, but it was kind of a hard bargain. When the guy found out we were gringos or North Americans, he actually upped the price by a few $1,000s. So like about 5 million colones, so you'll have to do your calculations. Anyway, in the end, my mom held tight. She was really strong with it. If it were up to me, I would have got gringoed. But yeah, it's great. It turned out well. And so we actually signed ownership of the property about 2 weeks after my mom left, which was kind of sad for me because, well, she wasn't here to have that process with me. Of making the offer to purchase and going to the bank and doing all that. I thought it was really important for her to be here with me while that was happening, but unfortunately the timing turned out like that, and she was heading home for the summer. So here, let's check it out. Let's go. So right at the top of the driveway here, we have this big oregano bush, which I am going to cut down. It's right now filled with air plants, which will eventually kill it, I guess, or just affect it really badly. So nice. Sometimes when I'm up at the top of the driveway going in and out, I grab a few sprigs, throw them in the dog's water, throw them in my water, dry them, put them in my food, or just nibble on one. All right, so, wow, whew, that one's spicy. There is a lot of branches and cut trees down here. The grass is super high. This is like a cow grass. The guy that was here before was wanting to start raising cattle. So he put in a whole bunch of new barbed wire fencing, which has turned out to be my nightmare. And he was cutting down a lot of trees. So I think a lot of what he cut down is guava, which is really hardwood. Oh, I forgot to mention there's a big sour orange tree there. It's good for making juice. And here is another type of orange, or that's limon. Limon is like green on the outside, bright orange on the inside. It's like a lime. I guess it's some kind of hybrid. There's a lot of those in Costa Rica. Everyone, when you ask for a lime, that's what you'll get. There's a lot of banana plants growing in here. Not too many flowers, or absolutely zero landscaping. So a big cow pasture here, which is quite low because, as I said, I've been here for about a month. I was able to very quickly find a neighbor who had cows to bring them in here and chomp down the thing and clean it up. So I was actually able to walk through there, because this kind of grass here can be super dangerous for snakes. Did see a fer de lance, which in Costa Rica they call a terciopelo. It is an extremely dangerous snake, and Olive almost stepped on its tail. I was terrified. So yes, I said, get me some cows. Here we're approaching up to the home site, and you can see it is a total mess. There's so much going on. I've started different projects and they never get done in one day. Our ultimate plan is to build a second house over yonder in the field, and this one actually we'll just do a couple little tweaks and of course quite a bit of landscaping, and one day we'll see, maybe I will be here, my mom will be there, or this will be a rental, you never know. So I'd like to take you down to the rest of the property, but before we do that, we have to take care of a few things first. All right, I'm ready to go. Like I said, this property is 4 hectares, and there's this great, really old kind of road that goes all the way down to the river. So 4 nights ago, the dogs went out at night. I let them out because they were barking and there was something out there, and I let them out and I heard this screaming noise, and they both came running back into the house, and there was blood gushing everywhere. The theory is that either she got head-butted and pierced by one of the cows and their horns, or it was a wild boar. I originally thought it was actually a big cut from the barbed wire fence from being knocked from the cow. But she's got puncture wounds. She's got a big puncture scratch on her side, and a lot of little barbed wire scratches around her body. And it's been extremely difficult this week dealing with that and keeping it clean and dry. So she's got a lovely collar to not lick, and she's taped up with a maxi pad. Here on the property we have a very old house, in fact. I call it the barn. This is where I keep the chickens, which now I only have 2. 1 chicken and 1 rooster. This barn is not totally secure at all. There is trash laying around. So in here, it's actually locked, but yeah, it's a super sketchy, scary building. I hate going in there, but right now the chickens are in there, and that's another project that's gonna get dealt with. Here we have lots of beautiful papaya coming that was planted by the seller. One really bad part about this property is that there is garbage everywhere. There's garbage underground, there's garbage. Like I have spent a long time picking up garbage here. Obviously not long enough because there's so much more. A lot of small village or Costa Ricans, especially farmers and old school people, older generations, and probably just in general in smaller areas and rural areas. First of all, there's no garbage pickup. So they have a tendency to just keep their garbage, pile it up and burn it. And this person here just was not even burning half of it, just throwing it out there. It's been really, really disheartening what I've been picking up. Why don't I go show you? So this here is what I've collected so far. This is an old washing machine. I'm probably going to start filling it up with trash too, but I think I can find a metal scrap guy to come and buy and take it all. Lots of scrap metal. An old TV canister. This here is an old fridge box, I believe. I filled it up in probably about 3 or 4 hours. Check out this horrendous blue plastic tubing broken all over. It's probably the most disheartening thing, obviously the most disgusting thing about this property. Part of me feels like I'm never gonna get it all cleaned up. There's probably a lot under the ground. Check this out. Pill containers, rubber bands, squeegee bottles, plastic. Here I've pulled out light bulbs, car parts. I actually found some teeth, which I'm hoping were dog teeth. I have found electronics, clothing, shoes, broken glass, batteries, you name it. It's really a challenge. Anyway, I'm not complaining. I'm very grateful for this challenge. Okay, so here we are in another part of pasture area that slowly I will be turning these pastures into fruit orchards, coffee. Right now there's a lot of banana growing down there. There's some medicinal trees. There's a lot of beautiful trees here. I got some old coconuts that are probably going to be dying off soon. So here we have down here the pathway down to the river. The grass is super high and it's a little bit dangerous. So I need to find a stick. So on this part here, it slopes down and there's actually either a natural spring or a runoff from a river. I haven't figured it out yet. I've actually never really walked through these side parts here because of the height of the grass. Here's my Cosmo pup. Cosmo pup, you're such a trooper. Yeah, the first first 2 nights that I got here, I just kind of sat on a chair, a broken chair outside, and watched everything and looked at everything, and I was kind of stunned. I felt very, very emotional about it, and I felt like just the whole gamut, a lot of, oh my gosh, what have I done? And a lot of just like disbelief, like what I'm really excited about and what I was kind of mentioning before about, I was really hoping that my mom and I would find a better property than where we already were. And this is nothing like that other property. It had a beautiful house, an outdoor jacuzzi, Everything was clean and manicured. And here is just like this, well, you know, for the past year or 6 months, this guy has been wanting to turn this kind of wild forested area into a cattle farm. So he did a lot of cutting down of trees. A lot of them look like not so important trees, but there were some really big ones that he had cut down, and he was transforming it into cattle grass. And I'm basically gonna try and reverse what he did and create an abundant space of fruits, healthy fruits and vegetables, grains, chicken grains for them and grains for myself. I am planning on having either goats or a couple dairy cattle. I don't drink milk, but I do love cheese, and it's much healthier for us to eat butter than it is for us to eat margarine. So yes, and my mama loves milk in her coffee. So one day that'll be a project. Behind me is a bamboo cluster. This is a fairly large bamboo, probably about 4 inches wide was the biggest one I saw. This can be a lumber or construction bamboo, and they do get really, really big. So I understand that's why he cut them down, to let in a lot of shade. I don't think it was necessarily, there's still lots of pasture for cows, but anyways, it will be growing back quite quickly, but it's going to take a long time to get back those big wide tubes. I think there's about 2 or 3 of those patches around that he had cut down. So yeah, throughout here there's a lot of guava and limon, and I actually found the other day, I believe, what is a mandarin, like a sweet mandarin, which will be absolutely awesome. Check out this tree. She's so beautiful. And trust me, I got something else to show you. There's a lot of rocks here. Let's get on down. This is how you walk in a field. All right, so here we are at the bottom of this long road. Here I have another area of the property. This is flat, and then up it goes a big hill. So lots and lots of flat area, which is what my mom and I were looking for. That was one of the criteria, and I actually believe that this property has a lot of the criteria that we were looking for. One of them mainly was like a nice house, or a livable structure until we can build a new house. So yes, we sacrifice on some things to win out on other things. And I think this property long term can be more of a legacy and an investment property for my son, essentially. So let's go check out the jungle part. Okay, Space Cadet, let's go. Can you hear it? Another part, one of my criteria was a little bit of field and a little bit of jungle, because I like to walk in the woods. It's been a lot of rain recently, and this path is actually getting kind of overgrown. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Wow, okay. This used to be a really easy spot to cross the river. Like I just said, there's been so much rain recently. This is completely different. Oh my gosh. I'm stunned. This pile of rocks here was not there at all. This log was definitely not there. There was some big rocks right here, and it was a good little spot to come and sit. Wow. This creates a lot more pressure right here. And actually, my neighbor, last Saturday, we had a really big rainstorm for 2 or 3 days, 2 or 3 nights straight. And he came to me and he said, come with me, I want to show you the river. And it had totally changed direction from up further this way and changed its pathway and went back that way and actually took a corner and wiped out some of his banana field. So he wasn't holding me responsible for that, obviously, but he was asking me permission to come over this way up there and move some rocks a little bit to change the trajectory to bring it back this way. But wow, look at that. That actually looks now like a nice little place to sit and in the water, but it makes it hard to cross over. Oh, okay. And wow, I can see the water has come way up here. It was way up here. Wow. This is normal, but I can see it's totally washed out here. Oh. Wow, it created that huge hole. All right, let me get up there and we'll check out on the other side. All right, we all made it up. Space Cadet here, had to have a boost. I come and look how this has all been pushed over. The water came up here, that's unbelievable. You could never see through here before. These were all really tall plants. That's crazy. Those logs were not even there before. That is some scary stuff. Not that it's endangering me now, but I am actually surrounded by 3 different rivers. So I think as far as a prepper goes, these are things that we need to worry about. How much land is going to get washed away if these events keep happening. And actually, I did speak to a neighbor last week, and I asked him, you know, well, that stuff probably happens every year, and he said yes, but it's worse now. So yes, crazy stuff. It's like it brings like a whole new other thought process to where I am and how to live here. So this is a really strange area. It's got a lot of canopy. A lot of things are growing very small. I don't know if they had sprayed here and killed everything and started cutting down trees as well. Maybe he thought he wanted to put cows here eventually as well, which would be absolutely nuts. But to each their own. And I forgot mosquito repellent. I can see here the water has just poured through here. Just this piled up leaf mulch went right down there. But I want to come back here to check out something super special that I just thought the first time I saw it, this was like the gem of the entire property. Can't even really see the top. And its neighbor here is quite impressive as well. I believe this one is called a ceiba, and they can get extremely large. Some of the biggest trees in Costa Rica are ceiba trees, and they are known by these really walled root systems. This one here I have not yet to identify. Somebody told me it could be a Evancho or something. I don't know, but it's huge, and I'd like to say it's beautiful, but I can't see the top, but it is beautiful. So down here is this crazy shaded area. I just love it. Mr. Blue Jeans. Only slightly venomous. Yeah, I like to come in the woods and I'm sweating. So I'm not gonna hang out for too long here. Let's head back to the water. Okay, so here I am sitting down and I had some time to splash off, and I realized that this is, actually I had to come down a different direction than over where I would normally cross over. So eventually I'll have to build some steps or a little bridge or something, just another project, so I can access the other side, which holds the main water line for the property and for about 7 neighbors. Our water here is not the ASADA system of Costa Rica. It's a private organization, but it's not controlled necessarily by the government, which I think is a great thing. Which is another reason why I say that I think this property is actually better than the old one. Like I said, it doesn't have the big fancy house, but it has way more opportunity and room for creativity and room for growth and room for projects and more projects. So yep, I'm gonna sit and chill for a bit and sharpen my machete. I like to do that down here because I sharpen it with what we call a whetstone, and it works better when wet. So plop it in the river for a little bit, chill, hang out, sharpen the machete, the dogs play. And then it's time to go back to the house before the snake hour comes, which is right before dark. So I probably got about 30 minutes and I got 0 battery. So thank you so much for joining me. The mosquitoes love you too. And I'll see you next time. Ciao.